What's up, Louis? It's Guys here. Hope you're doing great. We all know how difficult it is to enter the property market in South Africa, especially for first-time buyers. When I was much younger, I quickly realized that my salary alone will not help me reach my financial goals. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I consistently buy properties in South Africa for R0. Before the keyboard warriors go ahead and post nasty comments on this video saying that it's clickbait, there's three really important concepts that you need to understand first. This video is based on understanding how debt works and how you can use debt to grow your wealth. Most people live in a scarcity mindset, thinking that debt overall is bad and that you should completely avoid paying interest and focus on paying debt off as quickly as possible. This is an older generational mindset, so most people think this is the route to follow. You have to be able to understand how OPM or other people's money work and why it's such an important concept to understand when it comes to building a successful property portfolio. Another important concept is return on investment, and understanding how it actually works and how it's calculated is going to help you understand this video more clearly. So if you understand how debt works, how you can use other people's money to buy assets, and how to really calculate return on investment, this video will make a lot of sense. At the end of the day, we have to be realistic, and to acquire debt from a bank, you need to have some sort of income. You need to be able to prove to a bank or a lender that you can actually pay back that money in a worst case scenario. At the end of the day, having a secure income is probably one of the most important factors when it comes to investing in property. This is a step that you can't really skip. Another important factor, of course, is your credibility and affordability. You need to focus on your credit score from a very young age, and I've made many different videos about this topic, so make sure to check them out. We need to focus on having a good income, even if it's a small income. If we have a secure income coupled with a good credit score and affordability, we can follow this strategy, and that is exactly what I did when I started. So with that said, I'm going to show you guys two deal examples, and the first one you won't be able to buy for R0, and the second one you will successfully be able to buy this property for R0. If this sounds too good to be true, make sure to stay until the end of the video. So the first deal is going to be a traditional buy-to-let deal, and this is probably the most common type of property investment, or what your older generation will see as a good investment. The second deal will be focused on a multi-let strategy, which is a more advanced strategy. So if you want to find out more about this, consider enrolling in my property course or coaching program, where I teach exactly how you can invest in these type of deals. So to simplify everything for this video, let's say for example you are able to acquire a property worth 500,000 Rand, meaning your gross monthly salary will have to be around 16,000 Rand. This is a salary that I feel majority of South Africans will be able to achieve. Unfortunately, if you cannot reach this type of income, you should probably focus on increasing your income first before you consider investing in higher risk assets. So let's say we buy a property for full asking price and rent it out, and let's just assume the rental that we can receive on a 500,000 Rand property will be 5,000 Rand. I'm going to show you a typical property that you can find for around 500,000 Rand in Bloemfontein, Free State. This is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 89 square meter property. Of course, it's a lower income type property, but we are going to use this as an example. So the total once-off cost we will have to pay out of pocket, no matter what, will be around 44,000 Rand. This is going to go towards your transfer and registration cost of this property. This is something that we have to pay, unfortunately. So this will be money that we use from our own pocket. Next, we will work out our income, and like I mentioned, that will be 5,000 Rand. Then we get to our expenses. Our expenses will be our bond of around 5,000 Rand, levies of around 1,000 Rand, rates and taxes of around 800 Rand, and commission to a rental agent of 8%, which is 400 Rand. If we take our income and deduct all of our monthly expenses, we will sit with a negative amount, or a shortfall of minus 2,200 647 Rand. This is almost 26,000 Rand a year that you will need to pay from your own pocket. In this example, and like I mentioned, this is probably one of the most common investment deals that majority people buy thinking it's going to help them reach success, is not going to work, and you won't be able to buy this property for 0 Rand. So let's say we use exactly the same type of property, but I'm going to show you how you can actually buy this for 0 Rand. We are going to use the same deal, but let's say we are able to secure this property for a 10% discount. So instead of paying full price of 500,000 Rand, we are able to buy this property for 450,000 Rand. This is a very important part of this formula. And again, instead of registering the property with the bank for 500,000 Rand or 450,000 Rand, we will actually register the property for 50,000 Rand more than the original asking price. So our registration amount will be 550,000 Rand. Again, bear with me because this is very important. If you don't understand this concept, make sure to check out my refinance video where I cover this in more detail. Before we get to the income, we have to put money down from our own pockets, which is going to be around 48,000 Rand for transfer and registration. And again, this is going to be a bit more because we are registering the property for 550,000 Rand and not for 450,000 Rand. Then I also accounted for around 25,000 Rand in renovations and repairs. We will be able to drywall the living room, repaint the property and add a bit of flair, maybe with light fixtures or light switches to make the property look a bit more premium. This is a small amount to spend for renovations, but you can definitely do a lot with just a bit of paint. Then we get to the second important part. Instead of renting this property out to one family or one person, we are going to spend a bit of money and divide this living room area and use drywall to create a third bedroom while still being able to have a living room area. So like I said, it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, but we will create a 3-bedroom out of this property. Realistically speaking, we should be able to rent out each room in this area for around 2,800 Rand per room. That means instead of receiving a rental income of 5,000 Rand, we will suddenly be able to generate 8,400 Rand for the same property. Our expenses will look a bit different, and of course our bond amount will not be 5,000 Rand because we only paid 450,000 Rand for the property, meaning our bond amount will go down to 4,500 Rand. Our levies will still be 1,000 Rand, our rates and taxes will still be 800 Rand. Our commission is going to go up because our rental amount is more. 8% of 8,400 Rand is 672 Rand, which at the end of the day gives us a cash flow or a positive amount of 1,428 Rand. Already this deal is creating a 23% return on investment. The way we calculate return on investment is to take our yearly cash flow and divide it with the money that we invested. So that means our yearly income of 17,136 Rand divided by 73,000 Rand, which is the money that we had to put down from our own pocket, gives us a return on investment of 23%. Then we get to the most important part of all. Once we have this deal running for at least 6 months, we will go back to the bank and tell them, listen, I want to refinance this property because it's actually worth more than 450,000 Rand, and that's why we registered it at 550,000 Rand. So there is potentially around 100,000 Rand in equity in this specific deal. At the end of the day, the bank will still evaluate your financial position. They will still look at your affordability and credibility and make sure that you can afford to pay back the loan. And once they approve the additional loan or the refinance, they will literally pay out 100,000 Rand into your bank account. Just remember, this will be an additional loan, so you will have to pay back that 100,000 Rand to the bank, but that's part of the strategy. So let's relook at the numbers, assuming we are going to use the entire 100,000 Rand that we refinance. Our income again will still be 8,400 Rand, but our bond will be 1,000 Rand more. Instead of paying 4,500 Rand, we will have to repay 5,500 Rand, which is basically the difference between the 450 and 550,000 Rand. Our levies will still be 1,000 Rand, rates and taxes will still be 800 Rand, our commission will still be 672 Rand, but at the end of the month, our cash flow will go down to 428 Rand. The awesome thing about this is that we still generate a positive amount of 428 Rand after we refinance our property. And this is where everything comes together. Remember, we initially had to invest 73,000 Rand of our own money to buy the property and to renovate it so that we can accommodate the 3 people. Then we refinance the property for 100,000 Rand, and you can technically pay yourself back your initial investment of 73,000 Rand and put that back into your savings account and still have 27,000 Rand left over, whilst still receiving 428 Rand in cash flow month over month. If we wanted to calculate our return on investment, we would take our 428 Rand multiplied with 12 and divided with the money that we invested in this deal. But remember, we haven't invested any of our own money because we paid back ourselves the initial 73,000 Rand, meaning this deal creates an infinite return. If you don't understand this concept just yet, Google infinite return on property to understand how it actually works. So at the end of the day, you can literally buy this property with 0 of your own money. If you want to find out more and see how I achieve this goal on a consistent basis, feel free to check out my online property course or my coaching program. I've helped many people successfully invest in property and build a large portfolio following this strategy. There's currently a special running on these programs until the end of July, so if you want to save a couple of bucks, make sure to enroll before the end of the month.